Well, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the JazzZone show. My name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and I am your host in the JazzZone. And as I start most shows like none other, this will be incredible. I have a very good friend, an absolute outstanding artist, videographer, documentarian, Mr. Larry Morris. How you doing, Larry?
Roscoe, I'm fine. How are you?
Man, I'm blessed to be in here with you.
Man, thanks for allowing me to come on your show.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure, and it's going to be the pleasure of those that are viewing our show today to see a special guest like yourself and an absolutely fantastic artist. Our show is called Power in the Lens, and I know that you do still and you do videography.
Yes, we do.
We're going to start off still. Peace be still.
Peace be still.
Let's start off with the piece by Mr. Chad Morris. This is the sound that everybody heard as we started this show. Mr. Chad Morris, share with us your photography and your relationship.
Well, let me first start with my relationship because
Yes.
Chad Morris is my nephew.
Fantastic.
Outstanding young man, 20 years old, playing music like George Benson, and those are kind of his idols, but is a smooth jazz artist that he's playing right now. He's outstanding. That's the CD he's released, self-titled Chad Morris.
Self-titled. The photography, the power in the lens, this cover.
You know, we had the opportunity to decide whether or not to put a photograph on the cover or some location shot, but we just decided to go with the essence of his music, which was the guitar. So we just decided to shoot a close-up of the fingers on the guitar, and that's what we came out with.
Concept is what you do in your company?
Definitely concept and coming from the creative standpoint of putting it all together for our clients, from photography to video to documentation.
Fantastic. What I want to go and I want to show the audience another one of your works in still photography as well.
Still photography, that's Karen A. Clark's CD cover called A Corporate Affair. New release, and we did the photography in our studios in Los Angeles, and we put it all together in terms of manufacturing the CD for her, as well as putting together the layout and the design of it. So she loved this, and it's been great for her. It's been great over the last couple of months it's been out now, so it's been getting some great reviews.
Great reviews. Now, when I looked at it, I know you were saying that spoken word, a corporate affair, corporate spoken word, very interesting concept. What is that about?
Well, you know, it's a corporate affair because she shows that corporate persona, you know,
Yes.
embedded with the positiveness of the rap and that she does. So she has a positive rap type of spoken word delivery, you know, and it's just smooth. And so I think it's something you should check it out. And it's on Seasick Records is the name of that label.
Okay. Let me stay with still photography. Traffic. This is your shot as well.
Yes, and that was interesting because we also did video on that location, but we went there primarily for photography. So we shot it up on Sunset Boulevard, right? Oh. And we shot him as if he was crossing the traffic. He was stuck in the middle of traffic as he was maybe just crossing the walkway there. But it was outstanding. We put it all together for him for the photography and the design and layout again. Once again, that's the result. And also, Spatch is the name of the artist for the Traffic CD. And Spatch is actually Karen Clark's son. So they have an affair there going on right there. It's a family affair, so to speak.
A family affair. Karen Clark, corporate affair.
Corporate affair.
And her son.
It's a family affair.
In traffic.
In traffic.
Woo.
But the key is to have some great photography when you
Yes.
when you start. Photographer working with me was Fred Carter, one of the outstanding photographers in the city of LA.
So you work with other photographers in order to pull your concept together and get your shots the way you want them?
Well, it's just like a Roscoe thing because you always have the opportunity to pull together people who have the various talents and expertise to make things happen. So it's like a network of people that you call on that you can count on, and when you need something done, you know it's done.
I know what you mean there.
You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed. I want to show one other shot. And I know when we were talking earlier, you said
Right.
this is not your photography on the front,
Right.
but it's totally your work throughout.
Definitely.
Share, and it's called Voices from the Wall.
Voices from the Wall. It's an interesting piece. This is a DVD, actually, and it's a healing piece, I like to say, about parents who had lost their kids through, in the war, in Vietnam or throughout the various wars over the years. And it serves as a healing piece. I think it's a lot more. Maybe we set up a piece for that later on. We take a look at that.
That's good. We will.
Because it's a pretty touching piece, because I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I always say I live to tell about it. So there's a lot of things involved with the photography on that and the interviews that we did at the Wall in 1989.
Fantastic. I'm a vet too.
Hey man, welcome
home.
Welcome
That's
home.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Here's what I'd like to do at this time, Larry. I'd like you to set up, because I want to go into your aspect of documentation. And I know as we were talking about Voices from the Wall, I want to look at the documentation that you did recently, well, last year, on the Black Business Expo. Why don't you set up, and we're going to give a roll-in so they can get an understanding of your work as well. Why don't you set this up for us?
Well, you know, the Black Business Expo, and so hello to Harold Handbrake out
Yes.
there. You know, the Expo has gotten to be a lot bigger than all of us now. And so I had the opportunity to shoot for several days at the Expo last year, and just to cover the different activities that were happening from day to day. And what we have is a 30-minute program that covers a significant portions of things that happened that day, or I think the last 2 or 3 days at the Expo. But it shows what we can do collectively. And I always say we can do more in combination than we can in isolation, and I think Harold showed that specifically. But the idea of having the photography to capture actually what was going on during that time, we think that's very powerful, that power in the lens.
That is correct. Are we ready with that roll-in on the Black Business Expo? And so here we are right here.
2006. And it was indeed a family affair. Here are some of the highlights.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. 10,
Ribbon.
9,
Interesting.
8,
And the sponsors are outstanding.
6, 5, 4, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, festivities.
Oh, it was a great festivities. I mean, we had the opportunity to shoot this, man. It's like incredible, man.
So you capturing the colors and
Yeah.
when the Saints go marching in. What are we gonna say, Larry?
That's Richard, the guy playing the trumpet right now. That's
Yes.
Richard. He's one of the
Richard Green.
Richard Green out of Leimert Park.
Yes, sir.
Grant, actually, Richard Grant.
Yeah, that's right.
And the expo is just, this young lady sung the Black National Anthem. And they were crazy about her. It just shows you what the expo does when they just bring everybody together. She was fantastic.
The importance of documentation. Let's talk to that with your company, Larry Morris, because you had to come with the concept and everything, because I'm sure it's a lot of footage, and then it brings it down to the kind of documentation that you have in mind.
Well, let me say this overall, in general. I have about 20 years of documentation.
Okay.
I call it archives in the community. And I started out by doing a lot of work with the SCLC, NAACP, and I would interview different people like Lou Rawls, Cecily Tyson, people like that. And I started looking, I looked around, I have amassed all this information of audio tapes, photographs, video. So it's like, well, you know, like the news come out and they do something on the news and it's gone. So why not savor all of these important images that we have in the community. And that's what got me started to loving what I do.
Wow.
So it's the importance of documentation can never be. It's just, you have to document it because the future of the people, in the future will know what went on back in, say, 1984, where I can go to my archives now. I have Jesse Jackson running for president in 1984 on the corner of Wilmington and 103rd Street.
Wow.
See? So I can pull that up with the audio as well as the photograph to go with it. So someone has to continue to document our history.
Now, the aspect of documentation, now when pulling it together, your concept, you have a lot of forethought in this.
Well, actually, I kind of like the spirit works when it comes to putting it all together in terms of that. So you just go along with the concept that the client has given you to do, and you just start putting all the elements together, and you know that it just falls in place.
You've been at shows doing documentation, and you meet other businesses there that they're asking you about doing something for them as well in terms of referrals?
You mean like at the expo?
Yes.
For example, it's a wealth of contacts that you meet during the expo, but it's just being out there and shooting the different shots that you're out there to capture, and it always leads to something else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you were saying there are some nonprofits and other kinds of scenarios that you were working with, but I know that the Black Business Expo office is in Los Angeles, am I correct?
Right, on Crenshaw there. But I think it's in the One United Bank building there, Crenshaw.
Okay. Now that it's very close to a cultural community that we have in Los Angeles, the Leimert Park.
Let me correct you. I call it a cultural mecca of the African American community in Los Angeles. That's Leimert Park.
Mecca.
I call it the cultural mecca.
I appreciate that correction because I want them to definitely know it is the cultural mecca in Los Angeles.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So, if we're going to talk about a cultural mecca, then we must have some outstanding artists, both painters, musicians, and you've had a great opportunity to document some of that as well.
Oh, definitely. I had the opportunity to, actually I'm working on a documentary now on Billy Higgins, world-renowned drummer Billy Higgins, jazz drummer. He had the opportunity to leave with me, and I've had the opportunity to receive it, some dynamic video footage, him playing live. Also, he came to my studio and we did some interviews with him. He talked about the music, the history, he talked about Leimert Park. So he talked about a lot of spiritual things too. He's a very spiritual man, and he played several instruments while he was there too. So
wow. That
documentary will be ready probably the latter part of this year.
Now, in terms of documenting, and let's stay with that artist. Let's stay with that artist. And I know that you brought a roll-in on, and I know Billy Higgins is absolutely world-renowned.
Definitely.
So he also developed the world stage. Is that?
Yeah, matter of fact, he developed the world stage, and also he would teach students. I think on Monday nights, he would teach students drum lessons. It was drum classes. It was full most of the time to be there. But it has become sort of like a landmark in the community, world stage, not only in the community here, but throughout the country and throughout the world, actually.
Well, let's set up this roll-in on Billy Higgins, who was such an integral part of this Los Angeles cultural mecca. Set this up for us.
Well, basically, Billy was, as we know, he's a renowned drummer, of course, but also he was just such a personable person. When you saw Billy Higgins, he had that smile on him all the time. So he just got everything together. Yeah. But Billy also was teaching, I think, youngsters how to play drums. And this is what you'll see on this set. Actually, it's a clip also from the Leimert Park video that we produced.
Fantastic. So you've shot inside the world stage as well?
Numerous times.
Numerous times. Man, you're a blessed brother. You got it like that.
I was glad Billy was able to share that with us.
Yeah. Okay, let's see that roll in on this artist. Oh.
The drums. The drums was the first instrument I ever played. I mean, it was natural. you know. Because, I mean, I tell you what really turned me on. I was a little kid and I went to South Park. And I looked in the window at a little room they had there, and guys used to play there. And I saw these guys playing through this. They had a wire on the window, you know, like. And I looked through there, and I could see these guys tenor saxophone play. I think his name was Joe Howard. I'm not. It was a tenor player then named Joe Howard. And they were playing, and when I seen that, I said, that's what I want to do. That's just what I want to do right there. Because I watch them over there, you know. Once they get up and they play, even with little babies and kids, when they play and they say, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, but everybody kind of likes it. And then I'm having fun too, you know. Because it has nothing to do with anything anybody tells you you're supposed to do. But that's a natural thing. Kids like to play, like to beat on things, you know what I mean? And it's not intimidating.
Man, you know, Billy was such a sharing guy. That's what I thought about when I saw that he was such a sharing person. That was him. And he told me a story about he went to New York, and he had to get to where he was going to play this gig.
Yeah.
So he had his drums stacked up on the curb in the snow. And he said in New York sometimes the cab drivers come by, I mean, I see you. So he said, this guy pulled over to pick him up, and he said, you know what? I wish I could be doing what you're doing. So Billy said, you know what? He said, well, hey, brother, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't get to the gig. So we all need everybody. So that's how he said. He says, like, you own all the water in the world, and everybody else going to die of thirst. So I just wanted to say that because it's about sharing.
That is right.
That was him.
That is right. Sharing, you know, I want to go to some more of your documentation right away, because sharing has to do with getting people's message out. And PSAs are very, very important. You've got concepts, you've completed some. Set us up with a couple of a couple of really unique PSAs that you've done.
Well, we did one for the city of Long Beach, Smokey Free. We created this character called Smoke E Free. That was his middle name. And we made a big head, and the kids, someone would walk around dressed up like him, but he would go out through the city putting out cigarettes. So we decided, how can we make a spot without having any words, verbally said, and just sound? So that's what we created, and that's how it all came together. So we're working with the city of Long Beach, as well as United Care here in the foster care agency in Los Angeles.
Let's view, I think there's a couple of PSAs that'll run right in a row?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Smoke
E Free.
Smoke E Free. There you go. Powerful concept, no words.
Doctors on call.
Same here.
Firefighters on alert. An engineer on a construction site. A judge in the courtroom. If you're pregnant, you're carrying the next generation of professionals. So give them a head start in life. Get early prenatal care. Call the Black Infant Health Program. They can help you give your baby a head start in life. Call 213-295-5495. 213-295-5495. A Black Infant Health message, Los Angeles County Department of Health Services.
Whoa.
Power in the lens. Concept you came up with.
Power in the lens. We try to keep it simple. It was very simple to note that, say for the example with the babies.
Yes.
You know, we needed an extra baby for that. If you saw one of the babies had a construction hat on, one had a fireman hat on.
Yeah.
He was actually the same kid.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
The same kid. We said, oh wait, they were twins. So, but the power of just taking something simple, because a lot of times nonprofits don't have the actual funds that they actually need to really promote a campaign. Sometimes they get the commercial done, maybe they show it once or twice. But I think my suggestion to any nonprofit would be to make a PSA, whether it's for radio or TV, but buy some time in conjunction with that free time that you'll get. It helps it, it just makes it all better because you're all working together for a common good. You want to get your information out there, and the stations need the revenue.
Fantastic. I want to go to this next part, but I do want to say one thing on the Smoke E Free.
Smoke E Free.
That shadow and that stomp said it all. Showed the concepts are awesome, but then it takes a creative mind to be able to develop that in terms of power in the lens is who's in there making these decisions and how to bring this out and how to say whatever it is. It's like the goal is simple, and how do we get to it?
Right.
I want to take this part of the show and get to something, and not to say that that's not serious, because everything that we've seen is serious, from Chad Morris and listening,
yes,
and understanding that's family, to the fact that we're both welcome home.
Definitely.
To the fact that there was some spirit in here with Billy Higgins and that mentoring aspect. We're showing all of that. But I want to go back a moment to this cover of this CD. I know we were talking about the fact of still photography at this time, but we talked about what was inside. And I want you to set up this next roll-in on Voices from the Wall.
Voices from the Wall, it's a healing piece that was created by my chance to go to the Vietnam Memorial Wall in 1989. So I did a lot of interviews, audio tape interviews, while I was there. And then but before I returned, I ran into a young man. He was an Italian gentleman that was taking a lot of photographs, back to still photographs again.
Yes.
So he sent me a whole zip drive full of photography. So I said, what am I gonna do with this? So I put it all together with the audio interviews that I received, along with a song that Hillard Street produced and sung for me called Voices from the Wall. It's a healing piece, and it's a long story of how it all came together. And this is just a snippet of it that you're going to see now.
Well, that's all they're going to be able to see about your work throughout until they really get to know who Larry Morris is. And I'm glad that they have the opportunity to come on the JazzZone show and get these snippets. Let's show this, Voices
from the Wall.
From the Wall.
Đây là chúng tôi là Lốt Commando, phục vụ cho chính thể tự do.
When will they ever?
The first thing you notice when you come down here is that there are an awful lot of names on that wall. And you immediately are moved by that those names represent people. And they're not just, it's not a page in a history book when you see these names on there.
When you have a war, lose. On that wall is the cure for cancer.
When will they ever?
Every battle we were in, we won.
When will they ever?
I just hope there's never another wall. That's what I hope.
War, what is it good for? And he said he hopes there's never another wall. And I'm thinking, did he say, I hope there's never another war?
Well, maybe if there was not another war, there would be another reason for having another wall. Maybe that's what he meant.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, talk about this. This is very deep. I want to be quiet, but I want you to give the audience something about your whole thought process in putting on this Voices from the Wall.
You know, it's interesting. It's a very touching piece for me because of my trip to Vietnam and back. But Voices from the Wall kind of emanated one night. I was talking to my wife. I said, I want to go to the wall before the end of the millennium. For 2000 was in November '99. So I said, well, you got a plane ticket, just hop the plane and go. So I hopped the plane with a DAT recorder, no luggage at all. I flew straight to DC, and caught a cab right to the wall, okay? And I started interviewing people as I walked along the way. I didn't have an idea what the end result was going to be. So, but that's how it all came together. So I ended up getting photographs, and a lot of things just started falling into place.
So you got your DAT recorder, you had your mind, you know your concept, and you went and did it.
That's how it all came together. It rained that day actually too, so, but I made it through. And it,
Liquid Sunshine.
Liquid Sunshine.
You know, okay. Videographer, documentarian, historian, artist, family man.
Yes.
And is there something that we can give the audience in, say, 30 seconds that you want them to take away from this show, understanding the artistry of you, Larry Morris?
Basically, we need to tell our story. We need to document if we have a chance to document. Appoint someone in your family to be a documentarian, and then write it down.
So as it's written, so shall it be done.
Yes.
Yes. Well, first of all, Larry, in my experience, in knowing you as an absolutely great individual, when I saw you documenting the Black Business Expo and I saw you at work, I think on our website we have a picture of you shooting as well. What you did with that, notwithstanding, we were doing one of our shows here on the JazzZone with Harold Hambrick and some of that staff, and you brought that out just for us to be sure that we had a role in. And I want to say to the audience,